Book review: The Devils, one by Joe Abercrombie. Joe Abercrombie, the acclaimed master of grimdark fantasy, returns with The Devils, the first book in a brand new trilogy that marks thrilling new direction for the author. Known for his blood-soaked prose, morally gray characters, and razor-sharp dialogue, Abercrombie has spent nearly 2 decades reshaping what readers expect from fantasy literature. The Devils doesn't just reinforce those expectations. Gleefully shatters and reassembles them in grotesque and brilliant new ways. In this review, we'll explore the novel's central themes, character dynamics, world-building, narrative style, and its place in both Abercrombie's canon and modern fantasy at large. Plot summary: in The Devils, Joe Abercrombie unleashes gritty, darkly humorous, and deeply character-driven epic that plunges readers into a world teetering on the edge of chaos. The novel marks the beginning of a bold new series where faith meets ferocity and sanctity is wrapped in sin. Set in fractured realm where holy missions are little more than blood-soaked power plays, The Devils follows Brother Dias, pious if somewhat naive cleric whose worldview is about violently reshaped. Brother Dias has spent his life within the austere confines of the church, powerful institution that claims moral dominion over the land. Man of deep faith and rigid principles, Dias believes he has been called to serve higher purpose. When he is summoned to the sacred city, he dreams of leading noble crusade, of preaching to the masses, and of saving souls in the name of righteousness. But those dreams are quickly dashed. Instead of a cathedral or pulpit, Dias is handed command of a unit known only in whispers and curses. The Devils, they are a ragtag nightmarish band of convicts, sorcerers, cannibals, and killers, each bound into service by magical compulsion or the threat of wars. This isn't salvation, it's damnation with clerical seal. Each member of the Devils has past soaked in violence. There's Crate, hulking berserker whose only language is slaughter, a Sister Gwen, disgraced nun who speaks to the dead and drinks to forget, a Tamberlin the Flame, pyromancer with no regard for collateral damage, and the eerily soft-spoken Nyx, whose knives are sharp as his wit. Abercrombie's signature skill at character work shines here. Each devil is vividly drawn, their banter biting, their pathos surprising. Dias' task: to march this collection of human nightmares across war-torn lands to intercept secret alliance between rogue princes in the elven kingdoms. Creatures long believed to be myth, but very real and very hungry. These elves are no ethereal beings of light and wisdom. They are predators, fanged in flesh craving, lurking at the margins of the human world, waiting to strike. The journey is harrowing. The group must traverse cursed forests, besiege towns, and trudge mountain passes. Along the way, they encounter hosts of grotesque adversaries. Mercenaries, undead abominations, and corrupt clergy who would sooner see Dias fail than witness his mission succeed. In classic Abercrombie fashion, there's bloody skirmish or brawl at every turn, but beneath the carnage, a surprising emotional undercurrent. As they fight and bleed together, a twisted sense of camaraderie forms among the Devils. Brother Dias, once so sure of right and wrong, to question the black and white moral code he's lived by. Are these monsters damned souls or victims of the damned system? And is the church truly the bastion of righteousness it claims to be, or just another hungry power and world full of them? Tensions mount when the group uncovers devastating truth. The church is war with the elves may be diversion, convenient enemy to mask internal decay and political betrayal. The true danger lies within the sacred city itself, where high-ranking bishops engage in backroom deals with warlords and where the definition of holy is as fluid as blood spilled on the altar. In blistering climax, the Devils reach their target. Fortified stronghold on the borderlands, human and elven leaders are about to sign pact that would doom countless innocents. The final assault is masterclass in grimdark action. Brutal, messy, and laced with moral ambiguity. Dias, forced to choose between obedience to corrupt institution and loyalty to the Devils who've become his unlikely family, makes a decision that will reverberate through the realms. He embraces the chaos. In the aftermath, victory comes at a terrible cost. Lives are lost, the alliance is broken, and Dias is left changed, his faith tempered by fire, his beliefs reshaped by blood. The church hails him hero, but Dias knows the truth. Salvation isn't clean. Sometimes it comes cloaked in shadow. The Devils, the searing exploration of what happens when good men are asked evil in the name of the greater good. Abercrombie leans hard into the themes that define his work: moral complexity, dark humor, and the futility of noble ideals in corrupt world. It introduces new elements of spiritual conflict and metaphysical horror. Through Brother Dias and his unholy companions, he examines how faith can be weaponized, how redemption is never given freely, and how even the damned can be instruments of justice. With razor-sharp dialogue, unforgettable characters, and world as grim as it is enthralling, The Devils sets the stage for darkly ambitious series. Its story where monsters may be our only hope, and where holiness might just be the biggest lie of all. A cast of the damned, characters in development. Abercrombie's strength has always been his characters. Flawed, brilliant, repulsive, and painfully human. In The Devils, he doubles down on this with cast that is at once deeply unsettling and irresistibly compelling. Sarge, the squad leader, is man who has died dozen times and returned worse each time. He carries the burden of memory. Every death, every atrocity committed or witnessed. He's brilliant encapsulation of Abercrombie's fascination with war veterans. Men who have lost their identity to conflict only to be shaped into instruments of destruction. He's not likable, but he is magnetic. His dry, weary wit anchors the novel. Sister Portia is one of the novel's standouts. Sadistic, scripture-quoting nun with love for poetry and torture. She's the kind of character only Abercrombie write convincingly. She's terrifying, darkly funny, and utterly sincere in her belief that she serves higher power through members drip with menace and an unsettling sense of religiosity. The preacher, who serves as the team's handler, is more than just holy mouthpiece. He's manipulative, cryptic, and increasingly unhinged. He's symbol of institutionalized insanity. Priest of war who views mass death as divine arithmetic. Each character in the Devil's team is broken in a unique way. There's Cutter, the knife-happy scout who may be more beast than man. Gray, the sniper haunted by the children she's killed. And Hefty Brute, who speaks rarely but always at the worst possible moment. Every one of them has backstory steeped in horror, and Abercrombie doesn't flinch from exploring those traumas. The character arcs are brutal. Redemption is rare, and when it appears, it's fragile and short-lived. What makes these characters work is that they never become caricatures. Even the most grotesque among them reveals glimmers of humanity, whether through regret, humor, or fleeting moments of compassion, pain, her interactions with other squad. The world of the Devils, Hell on Earth. Abercrombie has created fresh setting that feels at once alien and eerily familiar. This is not classic medieval world, nor is it purely modern. Instead, it's twisted theological nightmare where theocracy and demonology merge into a system of brutal control. The church rules through fear, miracles, and infernal bargains. Resurrection is tool of control, not mercy. The metaphysics of this world are horrifying. Resurrection comes at cost. Every time someone returns, they lose something essential. Memory, skill, fragment of soul. Over time, the revived become less human and more monstrous, raising deep questions about identity and autonomy. Is person still themselves after 10 deaths? What about 20? There are echoes of Dante, Milton, and Barker and Abercrombie's depiction of hell and its agents. The demons here aren't cackling caricatures. They're terrifying, unknowable entities that deal in contracts, riddles, and spiritual obliteration. Humanity's role in this cosmic order is bleak. Chess pieces in game they barely understand. The setting expands across continent torn by war, but the focus remains on the squad's missions. From bombed-out cities, plague-ridden trenches, each location oozes atmosphere. Abercrombie doesn't just describe environments, he immerses readers in them. You can feel the mud suck at your boots, taste the rot in the air, hear the screams echo through burned cathedrals. Themes: faith, war, and the nature of evil. If the Devils has thesis, it is this: no institution, however holy, is immune to corruption. And often the most sacred are the most perverse. Abercrombie critiques organized religion not by parody, but by exaggeration to the point of horror. The Church in the Devils is an institution that worships pain and sees resurrection as penance. It sends people to die for salvation, then resurrects them to die again. The bureaucracy of damnation becomes indistinguishable from sainthood. The theme of faith is explored from multiple angles. For some characters, belief is a coping mechanism. For others, it's an addiction. For few, it's the last refuge of meaning in a meaningless world. Abercrombie never fully condemns belief, but he excoriates those who wield it like wit. War, of course, remains central. Abercrombie has long been fascinated by war's futility and its psychological toll. In The Devils, he pushes further. Here, death is no escape. War becomes cyclical purgatory, where death is formality and suffering is eternal. This leads to rich explorations of trauma, agency, and the ethics of survival. Lastly, there's the theme of evil, not just in the obvious demonic sense, but in the slow bureaucratic creep of institutional power. Abercrombie's evil isn't always flashy. Often it's quietly signed order, whispered prayer, shrugged before massacre. In this world, evil often looks like duty. Abercrombie's prose, brutal, beautiful, and black-humored. Abercrombie's writing style has always been lean, punchy, and laced with dark humor. In The Devils, he seems even more refined, wielding language like scalpel. The dialogue crackles with tension and wit. The internal monologues, especially Sarge's, are bleakly philosophical, often questioning the very nature of humanity. Descriptions are vivid without being overlong. Battlefield isn't just described, it's evoked with metaphors that bleat. Action scenes are brutal and kinetic, capturing the chaos of combat without losing clarity. Few authors write violence as viscerally as Abercrombie. Here, every wound matters. Every blow costs, but there's beauty too. Amid the carnage and cynicism, Abercrombie slips in lines of aching poignancy, moments of stillness, sunlight on broken glass, the quiet after battle hit hard precisely because they are rare. These moments remind readers that even in hell, something like grace can exist. The humor is razor sharp. It's not there to lighten the tone, but to deepen it. Gallows humor becomes a survival tool for characters and readers alike. You'll laugh, but it might catch in your throat. Comparison to Abercrombie's previous work. Though The Devils marks departure from the first law world, it feels unmistakably Abercrombian. The moral ambiguity, the flawed characters, the critique of institutions. These are his trademarks. However, there are key differences. First, the supernatural is much more present. The first Law series flirted with magic and gods, but The Devils dives into the inferno with both feet. This makes the tone more horror-tinged, more theological. Second, there's tighter focus on ideology. While the first Law books explored politics and power, The Devils examines belief and control. It feels more psychological, more philosophical. Third, the pacing is faster. While still character-driven, The Devils is built around missions and objectives, giving it a momentum akin to a military thriller or heist narrative. This makes it more accessible in some ways, though no less complex. Fans of the Blade itself or the heroes will find much to love here, but readers hoping for a return to familiar characters or settings may need to recalibrate. This is something new, and it's breathtaking. Criticisms, caveats. While The Devils is triumph in many respects, it's not book for everyone. First, the violence is extreme. This isn't cartoonish gore. It's intimate, traumatizing, and relentless. Some readers may find it overwhelming. Second, the cynicism is deeper than ever. Hope exists, but it's fleeting and often punished. If you're looking for fantasy that uplifts, look elsewhere. Third, some might argue that the world building leans too much on shock and awe, the grotesque eerie of the church, the sheer bleakness of the cosmology. At times it borders on nihilism. Abercrombie skirts this edge well, but not every reader will appreciate it. Lastly, few secondary characters feel underdeveloped. In Squad full of rich personalities, some fade into the background. Future books in the series may rectify this. Final thoughts. Dark Triumph. The Devils is Joe Abercrombie at the height of his powers. Fearless, furious, and ferociously creative, it's a novel that digs into the marrow of faith, war, and identity and comes up blood-soaked poetry. It challenges readers to confront uncomfortable truths about power and belief, all while delivering one hell of story. This isn't comfort fantasy, it's crucible. But for those willing to step into the fire, The Devils offers read that will haunt you long after the final page. Rating 9.5.